Thank you for tuning in with Juan's Auto Diagnostics. I just started work on this 2005, I believe, Ford Explorer. Because I'm complaining is that I was trying to turn the key, nothing comes on, no light, no nothing. But the problem is that I believe they might be short somewhere because they keep on popping fuses. And with my power probe, if I set power to it, you could hear a ding. So I'm gonna start getting a diagram and checking it and see where it could be caused and where does that circuit completes. If you could see here, sorry about that, number 8 is our left side top middle, which is our ignition switch power, or PATS. So I'm going to get a wire diagram, see what does the power that fuse. If it powers up ignition switch, go after the ignition switch and see why is it blowing it. Go from there. So as I started taking the steering wheel neck cover, there's 2 bolts that goes right here, and then there are 3 bolts, 1 there and 2 over here. You pull the neck down and you take this off. I found this at my surprise. As you can see right now, I don't have a negative at all. And once I click it in, I get one. So after I noticed that the wire was pretty much connected with this way with some pretty much butt connectors. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is soldered. Getting ready to put the shrink tube so I could finish the application. Got my power probe. I mostly use this for shrink tubes because I have that Milwaukee right there, and personally I like the Milwaukee better. That's just my feel about it. But the main reason is that sometimes I'm working outside where it's cold or windy, and this butane torch or solder iron does the job how I wanted it to be completed. So I got better tool for the job. I like to keep everything everything pretty much genuine, original. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's another wire that looked like somebody was messing with where my power probe is pointing at. You can barely see some wires sticking out. Let me see if I can zoom you in. Hope you can see that. That's one thing not to do. Also look like they tap into a wire in the back for this audio system, I believe. So far this is the end product. Connector, I will say holder. It's back in place. I'm gonna have to zip tie it so it won't move from a position and will not rub another wire or anything. Always try to do your best. Make your work look presentable by every means. Now remember this: what people remind you, what they remember you by. Sorry I couldn't show you this part of the video. It's just getting a little confusing and complicated. But I finally was able to find out what was wrong with it. Always, if you mess up, don't ever give up. Keep going at it. I mean, just because you have you fall one doesn't mean you have to give up. But anyways, this wire right here, after I was looking for some time on the wire diagram, and I don't know if you noticed in the beginning we saw that error right there, but if you could see more in, there's this cable that comes out and becomes this guy. This is a remote turn on. If you could see, I have a ground. There's full ground the whole time. I don't know that whatever they have in the back, I don't care. I'm cutting it off. If the customer want to go ahead and get it done the right way, he could do it his own means. But my problem was that it was not able to crank or start. So right now I'm going to put it back together. I know I shouldn't have done this, but I was able to put it back the best way possible. Right now I'm going to go ahead and get everything ready and together. But how this is set up, which I believe this is like a turn on, ignition turn on, because it goes through the switch, it comes up, goes down through this harness, and the harness go all the way through here, and then go to the fuse. And then from the fuses, there's another fuse it feeds, and it becomes a circuit for it, and that circuit becomes for the one over here. I'm gonna have to wrap this, make sure it doesn't touch. This owner had a lot of aftermarket parts. He had this DC adapter. I'm going to pretty much remove that. If you have a problem with it, he paying us just to fix the issue of a crank no start. Well, no crank, no start, no nothing. So completely dead. With that being said, sometimes we have major issues when people put in components that they shouldn't be putting in, such as aftermarket components, and that will get us the most. For watching Ponce Auto Diagnostics, this is another great example. Like Erico said, it's not wise to go ahead and put aftermarket parts on the vehicle. They're not designed that way. With that being said, I could show the vehicle is able to start. The rest of the lights, that's on the customer if he won't go ahead and get them checked out. But the main concern was no crank, no start, everything pretty much dead. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment. There was a really interesting video. I was not planning to add this part of the video, but the part of me kind of couldn't give up and leave the video go without having a solid explanation. What was the issue? What was the cause? It's kind of hard to record, explain as you are actually going and trying to figure out a certain issue with a vehicle, especially when it's electrical. So this vehicle was a 2006, Ford Explorer with a 4.0, and I was told that it will not crank, it will not start. When you turn the key, everything will go dead. And no, that's not Corona, it's just change to the weather. But going back to the topic on hand. When you will open the switch to the first position, which is accessory, it will blow the fuse. I got underneath the... First I got to the main fuse box by the engine compartment. All the fuses were fine. Then I started looking into the fuses on the driver's side kick panel. There was a 15 amp fuse that powers the ignition switch that was blown. I go ahead and put a new one in. Right when I turn to accessory mode, it blows it. Thinking it might be the ignition switch that was faulty. So I started taking everything apart. I noticed that the wire were pretty much, somebody was there before and tried to fix it. So I got it done the proper way, which is solder and shrink tube. Then I made a mistake. I thought it was ignition switch. We got a new ignition switch. I kept on doing the same thing. Then I started to cut wires where the accessory was on and see if I was still having that issue. So when I cut I believe it was a green with violet or violet with green wire, that full-time at the negative or ground went away. So I started seeing where did that wire go to? Where does it go? So how it goes is it goes in. There's a power feed that goes from that fuse that keep on blowing. It goes in, and then it goes through the ignition switch. When the key turns, it goes out of the ignition switch to this green violet wire, and it goes through. It goes through the harness, go into the fuse box again on the driver's side kick panel, and that powers another circuit. So it goes in, goes through the winding of the fuse, and then it goes out to other components like the rear wiper motor. It powers the radio and a couple other things. So I started going to the closest one, which was the radio, and I started testing on the radio, which was a green with white wire, and I have full-time negative. And I sent current to it, and it will break my breaker will kick on my power probe. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I started tracing the wire back, and then I noticed it was going right to the fuse box. Goes on the end that where it goes into. That the whole time was getting ground. The other end where the wire that where it was tapped into was okay. Sorry about that. The green with white, when the fuse was still connected, that was getting ground the whole time. Alright? And when the fuse was removed and I go into the input for the fuse, that it is violet with green, that was constant on ground. And then I follow that wire, and that wire will come up from the fuse box and will go into the ignition switch. On my way there, I noticed that there was a remote wire for amp, or wherever that has to turn on. Once I cut that, everything went away. Everything was solved. So I put everything back together. I soldered every single wire that I cut. I string tubed it. I brought them together and I put them nice and neat. And I put the original ignition switch back on. Fire right up. They had no issues. Again, I'm sorry that my videos are not being that professional, but like I mentioned, I'm still learning as I go. I'm still trying to find a way to make better content. Please be patient, and one day I might be able to get content like Eric O from South Main Auto Channel. And to be honest, he is one of the people that I admire the most. And like he said, most of the issues that we have in this field is aftermarket components. They go bad, that people don't know how to put them together, or even connect them to a vehicle. And that one of the reasons why we chase our tails, and that one of the reasons why it takes forever to find what's wrong with a vehicle. Thank you guys for watching.